Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Hello and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week we're rewatching an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation and recapping the stories and behind-the-scenes lore that made that magic happen. My name is Mitchell Mills, Chief Consultant of Services at Paramount, and with me is my life partner Brandon Hobbs, ex-Head of Resources Management. Brandon, how are we today?
Oh, Mitch. Didn't hear you come in.
Well, you know, I've been
Doing
here
well.
for 8-9 hours. I always like to sleep in the studio the day before.
Right. Kind of get used to it again.
Right. It allows me to train my voice to the acoustics of the room because
Which is, important, yeah.
I'm well versed in throwing my voice, but you really need to have that prep time. If you notice with ventriloquists, they never perform in a novel arena without a solid day or two of prep. You can't just bring a ventriloquist into the room and say, do your bit, do your act.
Right.
They need time.
The thing people don't realize is that your voice is like a boomerang.
Exactly.
After you've thrown it, you need to catch it again.
And that's
really what takes all the training.
Right, because you get acclimated to the distance of the walls, the spatial vectors of the room. It's a whole thing. And if you want to record a successful podcast, it's comes part and parcel with that as well.
Yeah, certainly. And this podcast is successful.
Indeed it is. You can tell by the numbers it pulls every week.
Mm-hmm. Not the YouTube numbers, mind you.
No, but the Spotify numbers.
Numbers.
It's doing Morbius numbers right now.
It is actually. I have a bit of a bone to pick with this magazine I'm reading right now.
Well, if I didn't know you were old in other ways, I knew it because you're reading a magazine.
Well, it's a magazine called Retro Gamer.
Okay.
Subscribe to it because you and I, we're kind of retro gamers. We used to game back in the day, and I think it's quarterly. And within the past 4 issues, the headlining article has been about the fucking ZX Spectrum.
Is this like one of those all-in-one machines?
No. The ZX Spectrum came out, and you'd be forgiven for not knowing this, because it came out back in the I want to say the 80s, the late 80s, but it was only big in the UK. And what do you know? This magazine is a UK-based operation. And these old fat UK guys are constantly going on and on about my Specky, my ZX Spectrum.
Okay.
And the thing about the ZX Spectrum is it's just filled with ports with shitty ports of games that are better on literally anything else.
Such as?
Like Bubble Bobble.
I always played as Bobble.
Yeah, I was a Bubble guy.
I know.
But yeah, I'm a little fed up with hearing about the ZX Spectrum. So any British fans, feel free to stop listening and fuck yourself.
Now, as a retro gamer, do you dress yourself in a graphic tee tucked into your jeans that perfectly envelops your ever-expanding gut?
My gut, yeah. It says danger, erection loading.
I know you love that shirt. I gifted you the one that said "In search of player 2," but you never seem to wear it.
Well, I've already found my player 2.
Aw. We were courting at the time when I gifted you that.
Let's not forget my second favorite graphic tee. Welcome to Idiotville, Population U. on this
Right, but
old wooden signpost.
I remember at the time when you bought that, you were in a real anti-sheep phase, and I guess you still maintain that.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's so as to call them all idiots.
Right, certainly.
Oh Lord,
You have a storied history with graphic tees.
I do. Everyone has a cause in their life, something that they stand up, for or against.
Mm.
They say, and this might have been on a graphic tee, that if one doesn't stand for something, one would fall for anything. And falling for anything is just about the only way I could have fallen for you. But what I stood for in this case is that graphic tees are not okay. I remember watching a stream, various streams, any stream where it's like a nerd thing, even at the conventions that we've been to, you just look and it's just a bunch of middle-aged men in graphic tees, which is
disturbing.
It's an evocative image, and you can go further and talk about the jeans and the Skechers, but you don't need to, because just by saying middle-aged men in graphic tees, you can piece together the rest of the ensemble in your mind's eye.
Well, I mean, maybe it all really starts from the genes, because these guys are genetic dead ends.
That's true. And but if they're genetic dead ends, how is this propagated so much? You would think it would have died out.
They all hook up with each other.
Do they produce via molestation similar to gays?
No, they sprout off of each other. They start off as like little bulbous boils on their arms, and kind of just separate themselves after a few months.
Then they pop off and start being in search of wood grain electronics, and
they start going to the Star Trek Reddit. How about cargo shorts that are too long for you?
I mean, you could have said how about cargo shorts in general. Yeah, I mean, unless you're a photographer, those are pretty untenable. But
yeah, sure.
Certainly, when they're ill-sized, they're even worse.
they basically turn into capris.
Just like parachute pants capris, because they're so wide.
What could they possibly be carrying around in those things?
Fucking bag of nerds. Have you ever seen somebody go into action mode with their cargo pant cutoffs?
Action mode?
Yeah, I mean, so you have cargo pants that are cutoffs. You can unzip them at the knee and they become shorts. Action mode is when they cut off and they go into shorts mode. Because presumably...
I forgot about that. That was a thing for a while, wasn't it?
Presumably people wear these so that they can transition into action mode at a moment's notice. Oh my god, I have to jet. These pant legs are going to slow me down. Action mode.
Just imagining just a fat guy with Down syndrome on the middle of the sidewalk, suddenly deciding he has to run the opposite direction. He unzips his pant legs and waddles away.
Leaves them behind.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. What is the if you had to pick, and we might have already discussed it, maybe your choice here, but if you had to choose one thing to be the least fashionable item, what would it be?
I've never really thought about that.
Let me throw my contender in the ring, cowboy hat.
Okay. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat that. But you could pull it off. So, like, if you're an old guy, you can pull it off.
And let's just say that you're using the median guy for all this, because obviously somebody who's attractive can pull off a lot more things than somebody who's not. But and somebody who's ugly can't really pull off anything. So let's just say the median guy.
All right, polo shirt.
Polo shirt is not good, but it is too inoffensive for me to give it to the polo shirt, right? It's just, it looks like a t-shirt, a plain t-shirt in a lot of ways. And while that's not great, it's also not so glaring.
The thing that bothers me about the polo shirt is that the back is often longer than the front.
Yeah. The way shirts are cut is very, very... I'm sure there's a rhyme and a reason to it, but from the outside of a non-designer, I'm just looking at shirts on the racks, and it's like, all right, this one has this weird U-dip. This one is cut asymmetrically from the front and the back.
Yeah, well, so many of them are made for like obese men who are 5'6".
You know, our average viewer.
Right.
Now, do you know the key difference between men's shirts and women's shirts?
The key difference?
The key difference. For example, if I were to hand you a shirt, how could you instantly identify if it was made for a man to wear or a woman to wear?
Well, for one thing, I would be able to identify it, but let me think about how. There's got to be something to do with the chest area and the waist, right?
There's an even easier one, because you could probably suss that out if you spread the shirt around, maybe tried wearing it and got a sense for its proportions. But there's an instant tell that
placement of the tag.
I don't know about that. That might be true, but what I'm thinking of is the buttons. The buttons on a men's shirt are on the right side, and they.
You didn't say they were buttoned.
It's a shirt.
You didn't say it was a buttoned shirt. I thought you were talking about like a
like a
top.
t-shirt,
like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer tier.
Well, sure. If it's a crop top, you can probably discern that it was made for a woman.
But yes, the zipper's the same way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I guess that tracks, but
which I mean. But it's the opposite over there over in Japan, right?
No, it's the same.
No, it's not.
The buttons on a men's shirt are on the right, correct? In the U.S. So I think so, closet. Yes. Then they're the same here.
Okay, well the zipper's different then over in Japan.
You a zipperologist now?
Yeah, the zipper, because I also have shirts from China, and the zipper is on the opposite side too.
Why do you own Chinese shirts? Are they the ones that have that Oriental design with like they just call it China?
Oh no, I do have those, but they're not from China.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean they probably are, but they're not.
Are they from Ohio?
No, I own a few tracksuits from China.
You couldn't go to Russia for that?
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should.
Well, then again, I know we don't support the war here.
Right. We don't. We have the Ukrainian flag in the Readier Room Twitter.
Right.
Name.
Blue color, yellow color.
Mm-hmm. So we're doing our part.
Yeah. Now I'm an old man. I'm old. I cannot stop saying the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me feel like an absolute abject retard.
Well, I mean, there's that, and then there's also Kiev.
I'm not privy to this one.
Oh, yeah, so Kiev is how you say the capital city of Ukraine in Russian, apparently.
Okay.
Now, people are saying, and I guess you'd be excused for not knowing this because this is kind of an American media thing. Now, like on CNN or whatever, people are making a concerted effort to say Kyiv, which is how you pronounce it on the Ukrainian side. Which is, to me, I just find this pathetic.
Yeah, I mean...
It's like, who cares?
On one hand, I'm for pronouncing these things correctly. Saying things like Iran, Iraq.
Yeah, I mean, that is shitty.
People saying sake, but it's...
Unless we're talking about Saki's cookie.
Right. But when it's motivated just by self-righteousness rather than it just being correct is when it's somewhat insufferable, you know?
And that's the thing about like American politics and kind of society at large these days, societal issues.
Watch out, everyone! He's talking about society.
One side, and you know which side it is so perfect at gaslighting or attempting to gaslight the other side into making them believe or themselves believe that it's difficult to discern when someone is being disingenuous about their kind of what do you call it? I mean, self-righteousness, basically, right? It's easy to tell when someone is being that. It's clear as day. You'd have to be a terrible judge of character to not be able to tell that. And I guess there's just a lot of bad judges of character.
Well, people are I'm trying to take a charitable read on this. People are well-meaning to a fault, where any kind of ulterior motive is just so far beyond their
it's nuts.
Their recognition. It's
right.
It's why the idea of virtue signaling as a concept has such a big pushback against it. Now, of course, the people who often use that term are also pretty retarded, but at the same time, for people to act like it's a completely alien thing that couldn't possibly occur, that somebody could say something they don't mean just to curry favor,
right,
is naive. And I think people's well-meaningness makes them a bit naive to the level that they exhibit it.
Yeah, it's terribly annoying. And you know, to add on to that, you know, I bet there's people listening to this right now who think we actually want to do a Star Trek podcast.
Right. And God knows this week that effort was tested. And it wasn't our love of the craft that pulled us through.
No, it was our love of Majel and Marina, truly.
Couldn't even get that out without sounding flat.
I almost threw up while I was saying it.
Well, we had those buckets on hand on set in this episode.
Yeah,
but I don't want to get into that too quickly here.
Right.
There's an important topic that we need to cover following this week. Why'd you shoot up that school?
Yeah. Look, you ever have just a really bad day?
Yes. Say no more. I understand completely.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know how much you've read about this, but there were like what FBI operatives urging him to go shoot up that school.
I haven't read about this.
That's what I've seen.
Is this a real thing? Is this a poll?
And
thing?
not on poll. I didn't read this. I don't go to poll usually. No, I've seen this on Twitter, even like liberal Twitter. So
all I've seen is, I guess, the more popular narratives about how cops didn't enter the school.
Oh yeah. There was that too,
because they were afraid of getting shot, which is hilarious. I mean,
I mean, like darkly hilarious, yes, but hilarious nonetheless.
Judge not lest thee be judged. You know, I don't want to get shot.
No,
they don't want to get
shot.
It's human nature to not want to get shot. Those kids didn't want to get shot, certainly.
It's human nature to sacrifice a couple of kids so you get to go home and beat your wife again.
Hell yeah. One of the funniest statistics I've ever seen was that the rate at which cops beat their wives is the same rate at which transgendered people kill themselves.
Oh no.
Both of them were like 41%.
Right.
And this led to something very funny where, what was it? Whenever somebody would use that statistic about cops, people would engage with them in bad faith and be like, "What? You can't say this about transgendered people. You can't quote this statistic."
Oh my god! You know what? You know what Carl Jung called this?
The collective unconscious.
Close. Synchronicity.
Ah, which is also the name of not one, but 2 police songs.
Are they the same song?
No, they're actually very, very different. Perhaps
Whoa.
lending to the idea of synchronicity that these 2
Oh,
songs
perhaps.
have nothing in common, but perhaps they do.
These songs are different, but maybe not.
They were both released as singles, and Synchronicity 2 is one of the better police songs.
Mm.
So
I'm sure I've heard them then.
It's about the Loch Ness Monster. And also a guy who hates his family. And those 2 events share synchronicity.
I used to be obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster as a kid.
Nessie? Oh, have I told you my Nessie joke?
Probably, but let's hear it.
What do you call enthusiasm for the Loch Ness Monster?
What do you call it?
Neshin no Nishin.
Yep. You did tell me that. Awful. I hate you.
But as a kid, you had.
I had
Neshin no Neshin.
Neshin no Neshin. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm sad that I never called it Nessie. I thought it was kind of, I'm not going to say the word. But...
Well, it's kind of like being on the first name basis with a celebrity.
Yeah, or like having a cute nickname for your male coworker or something.
Right, right. Now, I've never worked in a post office, but I can imagine how awkward that would be.
Yeah, I always call it the Loch Ness Monster. Like any kid, I was into dinosaurs and stuff. So
now, let me ask you this: do you ever refer to the Loch Ness?
Yes, I do.
Which to me, the way the phrasing and the intonation is always just. Maybe it's because I'm so conditioned to hearing Loch Ness Monster, which has the emphasis on the monster, whereas if you just say the Loch Ness, where it has the emphasis on the Ness.
Instead of saying the Loch Ness.
Right. Or that lake. Ness.
Well, it's like saying the Ukraine.
Yeah, oh my god. Now, what if the Loch Ness was in the Ukraine?
Then we'd have double the issue here.
Double
trouble.
I like to think that Nessie would go to bat for the Ukrainian people. Nessie would be on the side of justice.
Oh, certainly. Is Nessie a woman?
Well, let's look at the evidence here. Very mysterious. Shows up only when it deigns to. Has a long neck. Pretty womanly.
Lives underwater.
Is a large man-eating monster.
Anyway, yeah, she's firmly on the side of justice. I agree. And you know what? We should make T-shirts of Nessie. Like there's like.
Oh no, I got it. Okay, so it's Nessie. It's Nessie in silhouette, emerging from the water, and the water is blue, and the sunset behind Nessie is like a yellow.
That's good.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what order the colors are in. We can flip the whole image vertically if blue's on the top. That's fine. But
all right, here's my idea. I was thinking, okay, it's obviously a graphic tee.
Of course.
There are, several flanks of soldiers on opposite sides of like opposite extremes of the T, one Russian, one set of Ukrainian soldiers. And on the side of the Ukrainian soldiers, there's kind of just like Nessie kind of lording over them and screaming at the Russian soldiers. And
okay.
I guess on the Russian side there's like the nostalgia critic or something, like pointing and screaming at
right, it's got to be a
Nessie.
counterpart to Nessie.
Right.
Yeah, that works. Maybe it could be a line of Russian infantry kind of standing in formation with their guns, and Nessie is kind of waddling by, putting flowers inside of the gun barrels as a peace offering.
In the corner, it's just Ben Garrison's signature. Nessie is labeled with just Big Ness or something.
All right, let's go the level deeper. You ever play Earthbound?
Don't start. Hold on. Sorry, I have a bit of a cough today, so I keep muting myself. For the convenience of the viewer.
I always considered you immutable. Never
trying
changing.
to wrap my head around the implications of that, but you remember Super Smash Brothers Melee?
Melee, yeah, I do.
Or Melee, as some might say,
Melee,
or Melee,
yeah,
like
Melee,
like worms.
Lee, Bruce Lee. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I haven't. That unlocked a elementary school biology part of my mind that has been sequestered away for decades.
What has?
That reference to the worms.
Oh. I didn't realize that would tickle you so much.
Oh, it hit the spot just right.
Where was I going? You remember, you play it with friends, right? Obviously, and one of you would pick Pikachu, and then the other person would very quickly pick Ness.
This is not my memory banks.
So it goes Penis.
Never did this.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
You got something to go back to.
Yeah,
I'll play Melee again.
I'll just do it by myself, one controller in each hand, trying to get the perfect penis.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I used to do that obsessively. I would go to play by myself, plug in a second controller, and spend, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes just trying to get the perfect penis.
See, I always heard that if you got the perfect penis 10 times in a row, then you would get a Sonic encounter, and you could fight him to unlock him.
Now that would have been a good game magazine rumor.
The perfect penis.
The perfect penis.
Right? Like that's the heading.
Yeah, that's the headline.
Yeah. Sonic and the perfect penis.
A picture of Sonic below it. The perfect penis.
Now, Sonic's perfect penis has been the focus of several Google search.
Many a DeviantArt.
Yes. Emphasis on deviant. I think I've said this before, but man, what a great prediction in naming that website.
Yeah, we definitely talked about this before, but yes, it does bear repeating. It's like they knew.
They knew that everything was just their entire website, their empire would be founded on poorly drawn images of somebody stuck to giant Sonic's foot.
Sonic and Shadow having sex, or like Houndoom with a penis.
Right, or somebody tied up in deli cheese.
Basically the kind of things that Bomo from the DK Vines forum would like.
Yeah. Local celebrity Bomo. Do you know what a Bahamut is?
A Bahamut?
Yeah.
What, like the dragon?
Yeah. Okay, then no need to go into it further.
Case closed.
Case closed.
I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy, so
I know you're
not going to trip me up.
Do you know what a Tiamat is?
Oh yeah, he's a user on the Sonic the Hedgehog IGN board.
He's a fucking furry, is what he is.
He's a fucking furry.
Now, my knowledge is that Tiamat is like a 5-headed dragon god.
Yeah, it does bear mentioning that it's a female 5-headed dragon god.
I see. Was it a mother of all dragons? Some dragons?
Maybe.
Now, who would win in a fight between Tiamat and Bahamut?
I'm pretty sure Bahamut.
Now, what about the prophet Muhammad?
Well, he loses by virtue of not being able to show up.
I see. You ever see that South Park episode? Where they depicted Bahamut?
Yeah.
Bahamut.
With Bahamut, yeah. With Bahamut.
It's got fucking brain worms. I didn't even mean to say that. Muhammad. Maybe this is not so coincidental that these names have a passing semblance to one another.
Maybe. You ever see that Family Guy episode where there's a knock on the door and Peter opens it and it's Tiamat?
And he says, "Holy crap, Lois, it's Tiamat."
Right. Not the dragon, mind you.
Right, the
man.
furry.
The furry.
Yeah, the furry man. Did you know who plays Death in Family Guy?
It's not Norm, is it?
It is Norm, which is ironic
It is,
because
right?
he would later go on to die.
Did you die? I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
I'm very excited for his special tomorrow.
Oh, is that coming tomorrow?
Tomorrow for me. It's coming on the 30th.
Okay. Cool. We are in the same studio right now.
Yes.
We operate on different time zones. Just it's kind of quirky.
The studio sits on the border of two
Right.
time zones that are somehow 12 hours apart.
And every night we pack up and go leave for our independent homes across the border.
Right. We're reimagining our courtship phase where we did not live together. Just to introduce a spark.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, I bring you flowers, you take me on dates to go eat mapo tofu.
Yeah. Sometimes I bring you dates.
Sometimes you do.
To eat. Yeah.
Sometimes they're wrapped in bacon. Sometimes they're not. That's part of the excitement.
A bacon wrapped date. It sounds like an American reality TV dating show.
I have this real problem with I have this real problem with pronouncing off the top of my head, like without thinking, bacon wrapped dates, because I often say bacon raped dads.
A common problem, to be sure.
Yeah. No, it's happened to me multiple times.
How often
and
do you
I think
say
I'm just stuck with it.
Bacon wrap dates?
Not enough, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't trained my mouth to move that way.
I recommend sitting in front of a mirror and practicing.
Okay.
You know those vocal exercises actors will do. This is one of them.
Bacon wrap dates.
Which is also something you can chant when going to buy bacon wrap dates.
Yeah.
As you walk into the store, kind of pumping your fists, bacon wrap dates, bacon wrap dates, and everyone will know what you're there for.
Make your way to the dates, and then you circle around to the bacon.
Yeah. Now
scream in the clerk's face.
Bacon wrap dates. Oh Lord. One time I asked for bacon wrap dates, and they handed me a calendar.
Okay.
That's the whole story. You want to do the question of the week?
Yeah, I guess.
Alright, so this week's question of the week comes from a man named Bish Hop, who says, "Hello, Admirals. I know they often play chess in Star Trek, sometimes in several dimensions." I'm sorry, there's an exclamation point. Sometimes in several dimensions. What are your chess ratings? Thanks for being Readier, Bish. And I chose this question because on the episode we get into later, chess is a key part of the plot.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a humble 75 rating, which I believe is the average, the national average.
No.
Yeah, maybe it's a little above average, but you know, I think that I waver. It's usually between 75 to 90.
You can't tell me that 50 is not the average. It's right in the middle.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. I'm well above average with my 75 rating.
All right. Well, you got lucky. Okay.
Well, luck
comes down to luck.
You always regress to your mean, is what they say, and my mean is well above the international average of 50 rating in chess.
You are meaner than most people.
This is true. That's what my ELO says.
Mm.
Do you know what ELO stands for?
Oof. No, I can't say I do.
Everyone loves optimal, and then in parentheses strategy. So, meaning that if you employ optimal strategy, your ELO will rise.
Your ELO goes up.
Yes. It also stands for Electric Light Orchestra, with
oh, it does.
Doesn't fucking George Harrison's friend, Jeff something. What is that man's name?
Jeff Bridges.
That's not true. Jeff Bridges was in movies. This is a band.
Oh.
Jeff Lynne. Now you might know ELO for being a terrible band.
I don't know them at all, really.
Do you know that song,
I mean, I've heard the
Mr.
name.
Blue Sky?
No. Maybe I do.
It's bad, but they wrote it.
Is that related to Mr. Brightside?
Looking on the bright side, yes. I don't like what are those people called? The Killers.
Musicians?
I don't like the Killers.
You don't like the Killers?
No, I would prefer an actual, murderer to the Killers.
Now, when he says "coming out of my cage," do you think he's exiting his cuck shed?
No, I think it's written from the point of view of a hamster. Now, I'm ready for. I think we're gonna take a bet on this. 5 years is my. How about this? I'll say 5.5 years. No, 7.5 years, and you give me the over/under. How long until a slowed down, half-tempo, dramatic version of Mr. Brightside is used in a trailer for something?
Oh, that's a very, very interesting thought.
And I'm setting the line at 7.5 years. You give me the over/under. When do you think it'll happen?
I don't know how to calculate an over/under.
It's like a halfback.
Like a bareback?
Well, no, more like a broke back.
Hmm.
So you say if you think it'll happen sooner than 7.5 years, you take the under. Think it'll happen later, you take the over. And whenever it happens,
right, okay.
You win or lose.
I would say under.
That's I if I had to choose time, I would say 5 years. So I would also choose the under. But yeah.
But I guess I'll just take over then, so that we'll make it interesting.
You're never taking over this podcast. So I
can imagine it too.
Hold on, I'm gonna set an appointment calendar date in my phone here. 7.5 years.
7.5 years.
Yes.
One of us is gonna be dead by then.
God, I hope so. Please let it be me. But yeah, get ready for that. Where, this is the ever persistent passage of time. Things that we knew from 10 years ago are retro. Then again, people do seem to not want to give up on the fucking 1980s.
Yeah, that's made quite the comeback, huh?
What was it?
It's just gonna stay that way.
It might have been Man-Eater by Hall & Oates. There was a dramatic half-tempo version of that used in something. And the choices just get increasingly ridiculous. Like, how about, let's do Girls Just Want to Have Fun. A half-tempo dramatic version of that.
That sounds like some trashy, like, horror film.
No, you're right. They could use
trailer.
that seriously. Okay, we need something that is just so ridiculous that there's no proper usage of it. What song, when taken at half, Eye of the Tiger? No, that could still
that
be
could
done.
still do it.
It's got to be ridiculous. What's that one? Like Let's Get Physical. You know what I'm talking about?
No, well, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not remembering it.
That's like the only lyric. Like, let's get physical.
Well, oh yeah. Well, that doesn't really count.
Well, I'm saying why doesn't it count?
I mean, if it's that repetitive, it's
all right.
Kind of like by nature, it's like let's give this a real effort, huh?
All right, I'm thinking. Something so silly.
God, this is impossible to think of. I want to fuck a dog in the no.
It's got to be a real song. We could just write fake songs.
That's a song.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I heard a song where the lyric was "I want to fuck a dog in the ass."
I think you just had a dream.
Yeah, it's Blink-182.
Oh, Blink-182. I mean, putting aside their ridiculous alien theorizing, I don't think that band makes very good music.
I've never been terribly impressed by them, though.
No, you had to be like 12 years old in 1999, otherwise that just completely passed you by.
Okay, wait, I got it. How about that song that everyone would accidentally download on LimeWire that people thought was System of a Down?
The Zelda song?
The Zelda song.
That's a good one.
You come to town.
It's played at half tempo on like large bells.
The unfortunate thing is I could still see that being used in some weird remote situation.
It's like they make a Zelda film and that's the trailer music.
Right.
It's like the grim, dark, serious Zelda Link.
Link is like a grizzled old man.
To town.
He come to save. There's like Arabic chanting in the background.
Oh Lord! Oh, so what's your chess rating?
54.
54?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's still above average.
Yeah, I mean it's all right.
You ever used tactics?
I learned what en croissant was the other day.
Right. Which we should have known, being in the business as we were. But,
right.
yeah.
I mean, being as highly scored as we are, it is a little embarrassing to admit. But
now I always confuse tactics and tic-tacs.
As one does.
Tic-tacs, I think, are an old man's mint. You don't really see them anymore. Them and Altoids.
Yeah, they're kind of rare.
Like kids today are just shooting heroin. No one's taking a tic-tac.
No. Yeah, who does carry tic-tacs around?
I don't know.
I've never had
the idea.
I haven't had someone offer me a tic-tac in years.
The idea of carrying around a tic-tac for some reason instantly made me think of Seinfeld. Like there's a scene where someone offers George a tic-tac and everything goes awry because of some social faux pas. It's like it's like
he takes too many or something.
No, it's the guy. He holds the Tic Tac box like up to his mouth and just like tips it in, and his like lips are touching it.
Yeah,
and then he offers one to George, and George's like, or maybe Jerry because he's the neat freak. He's like, no, I'm good, and the guy gets offended that he won't take the Tic Tac, and it becomes the whole thing.
That's great. It's like a Banya moment or something.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of retreading the double dip scene a little bit.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
I contend there's nothing wrong with double dipping. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, we're all part of some primordial soup at one point.
That's true. And we will be again.
Might as well regress to the soup.
What the kids call the tang.
Right. Like what those orangutans drank in space.
Why? Come on. I was gonna go to my deathbed not having remembered anything about that commercial.
Does
Tang still exist?
That's a good thing to Google live on the podcast. Tang. God, oh wait, drink mix. It appears to still be in use.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, good for Tang. Good for my Tang stock that I own. I mean, as a Tang shareholder, I can't, be too non-biased here, but what's good for Tang is good for Mitch.
I'm tickled by the idea that you've been attending Tang shareholder meetings for like decades, and you still didn't know if it was around or not.
Well, we just keep up appearances. We all go in, catch up with each other, leave.
Well, that's just how it's always been done.
The orangutan died 15 years ago.
that is a good absurdist content where like these people keep gathering for a shareholder meeting for a company that doesn't exist because it's just so routine for them.
That is pretty good. I don't know how to develop that. Like if I were to write that, so you have the setting.
Well, something.
You know what happens there? I don't know. We'll stick this one in the oven.
We'll have to brainstorm this.
Yeah, incubate it.
Yeah.
Well, once again,
let it hatch.
Let it hatch. I almost just said Greg Hatch, but that is not anything that you would understand, and it's not even funny to begin with. So I'm gonna move on. So I want to give a thanks to Bish Hop once again for asking this week's question of the week. If you're like Bish and you want to have your question of the week answered on our question of the week segment, you can email your question of the week to thereadierroom@gmail.com. That's with a capital T and 2 capital R's. Or you can tweet at us at the Readier Room, and we'll answer your question live, pre-recorded on our show.
All right, let's cut here for a minute.
All right, we're in the business now of taking breaks in our podcast. It's become a recurring segment of the show where we take a break.
You can leave all the dead air in too if you want.
Oh, it's nothing but dead air when we're together. We'll be back.
Hot air.
Heyo. All right, and we're back after a couple hours of break.
Yeah, that was some good Chinese food.
I feel like a new man, fit and lean.
Yeah, that is usually how I describe myself after eating takeout.
Yeah. Now you weren't
just to kind of help with the staying positive.
The pipes. Now you the pipes. You weren't the one who took it out. I mean, someone had to go take it out.
Someone did take it out,
right? Thereby making
we brought it in.
This is true. Well, someone.
They should call it Chinese bring in.
They should call it MSG because it comes from Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm. Is that where they make it?
Yeah, and it's all shipped out from there, frozen, so it survives the commute. And that's why it all tastes the same. It's all made in the same spot.
You know, that's where back in the late 90s, Godzilla had all its little babies there too.
I remember that. That was on the news.
Yeah. Real tragedy.
See, I always referred to him as just Zilla.
Well, some are in favor of that.
Yes.
It's a whole issue.
I don't think really he had that many problems with holes, but the issue with me was more of the depiction rather than the hole.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess we're talking hole problems then.
Well, let's not air our dirty laundry. Which is dirty explicitly because of a hole problem.
Is it dirtier than this episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Nothing has made me feel dirtier than watching this episode of Star Trek, except for making it.
What did you think of Menage a Troi?
I loved it. I did not love it. I fucking hated it. The tone of the episode being kind of sillier completely whiffed for me.
Yeah.
Just didn't find it amusing at all. First of all, I just hate several of the characters it focuses on. And
maybe all of them.
Yeah, maybe all of them. Maybe I just hate every character in TNG. But the conflict was kind of sidelined in favor of the funny antics, which
yeah, it was just goofy,
right? Which weren't funny, which really left the episode feeling completely unsubstantial.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one bit I enjoyed in the entire episode, and it's close to the end.
Mm-hmm.
The Picard scene.
Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah. Everything else was just trying if I had to describe it. It was trying my patience. It was difficult to sit through. And I'm happy in some respects that I'd already seen it, because I knew I could just tune out and not really miss anything.
Right.
Funny thing, just as an aside, even at the time, around set, this episode was known as the worst thing ever, end quote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was the working title.
We knew what we were doing.
Yeah, we certainly did. But what are you gonna do when Majel shows up talking about wanting to be in an episode?
Yeah.
Gene's hovering over your shoulder the entire time.
Voicing the fucking computer just isn't enough.
No, I guess not. One thing I do want to get out of the way real quick is the end title of this episode, the title with which this episode actually aired, because I don't think the fan base understands the pun.
Well, we're not a cultured bunch, the Star Trek fandom.
No, and it's never something the Trek fan base. It's never a situation they will ever find themselves in.
Certainly not.
So I just want to go ahead and make sure that we're all on the same page here. The episode is called Menage a Troi, okay, which is a pun on Menage a Trois, which is a domestic arrangement and committed relationship with three people in a polyamorous, romantic, and/or sexual relations with each other, and often dwelling together, typically a traditional marriage between a man and woman, along with another individual. The phrase is loaned from French, meaning household of three. Some contemporary arrangements are sometimes identified as a throuple, or a triad.
Really couldn't get
this
out
relationship
without laughing.
Has elements of bisexuality involved, but usually at least one of the participants is heterosexual. Can we just imagine Data explaining this? Because the term is sometimes interchangeably used for a threesome.
Thank you, Data.
Riker walks up to the car, starting to become a real Menage a Troi. When Wesley turns around.
Yes, Wesley. That's
Menage,
it.
What?
That's it. And then how, for extra, I don't know, relevance, Dr. Crusher's the one who cuts off Data for sullying her son's mind.
See also bigamy, committed relationship, gangbang, group sex.
We do not tolerate bigamy on this podcast.
Yeah, no, that's not okay. In fact, if you're a bigam, you shouldn't be listening to this at all.
Right. We tolerate everyone, bigams, smallums, all of them.
Troialism. What? No.
Go on.
No. Okay, look at this word, Troialism. Troilism. Troialism. Observing one's partner engaged in sexual activities with another person.
This is just cuckoldry. Shakespeare
It
cracked
is.
this nut hundreds of years ago.
But we should have used that in the title for this episode.
Yes. If only we collectively, TNG crew, were more cultured in the realm of cuckoldry.
If only.
Now, coincidentally, in the realm of cuckoldry is the name of several TNG fanfictions.
Maybe even one Pocket Trek novel. Who knows?
All involving Q.
Oh, Picard. Can't you see? We're in the realm of cuckoldry.
He rhymes in this one for no reason.
Got a little mustache like a beret. God damn it.
A green beret.
But yeah, this episode is trying. It's a very difficult episode to sit through. There are points though where it's almost so bad that it's good, I think. So that got me through it.
Such as?
I don't know, the ear rubbing. What's that called?
Oh, so this is our first.
Snoo.
It's our first introduction to Umox, which
Umox, yeah.
is something that becomes a fixture of Deep Space Nine with its Ferengi cast members. That and the notion that women aren't allowed to wear clothing is also a fixture of Ferengi culture that resurfaces many a time in Deep Space Nine. So a core plot point was that Quark's mother was a bit of a renegade in that she refused to not wear clothes.
Oh my god.
And she would be wearing clothes, and another Ferengi would walk in and kind of like shield their eyes as if she was naked in human culture. Like, oh my god, that's a woman wearing clothing, a female! And that happened a lot.
That is, how convenient. I wonder who came up with that one.
Who knows? Who knows? But all I can say is collectively the Ferengi scenes across all Star Trek media are the most disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
Have you practiced the ways of Umox?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy a good Umox here and there.
Umoxy? Anyway.
I mean...
What happened in this episode? Anything?
Do we have to?
So, there is something really dumb. There's a lot of really dumb, but there's like a particularly dumb thing later on in this episode, but it starts at the beginning, where there's like a diplomat conference and Troy's mom is there, and everyone's already like, oh my god, Troy's fucking mom. But there's this stupid ceremonial chime playing.
Yes.
Which is just, A, it's super fucking annoying. And B, it becomes the flimsiest plot point.
Yeah, it's like the crux of the whole resolution.
It's like, oh, I need to send a message out. Let me quote the tempo, the rhythm of this chime.
Of this song that no one wanted to listen to.
Right. And I'm going to quote the rhythm of it, bereft of the pitch, and still people must recognize it for this.
Yeah, well, people, Wesley.
Yeah. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And
yeah, it is dumb.
You know, when you hear it at the beginning, you're like, okay, this is really persistent. Why? And the payoff, there is a payoff, but it's just unsatisfying. Fucking stupid. Yeah. And now, so at this conference, there's Ferengi, and they're like, oh, Troy's mom, I wanna become a business partner and fuck Troy's mom.
Right. Which is a kind of a funny premise, I think. It's a little silly.
Sure, I think that would be fine if the pieces were different. If Troy's mom, Majel, was not completely insufferable.
Maybe. I think it's kind of funny because she is insufferable, and it's how do I want to say this? It's kind of like her getting her comeuppance to have a Ferengi want to fuck her.
I guess all women go through that, where at one point they're propositioned by the lowest of the low, and they have the realization, like, this is the best I can do now.
That's what they call hitting the wall.
The working title of this episode, Luxwana Troi hits the wall.
We're hitting the wall at warp 9. Yeah, meanwhile, Riker is playing chess with Nibor, I think it is.
Oh, which one was this? Is this the leader?
No, he wasn't playing with Tog. He was playing with Nibor.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, yeah, he's playing chess with him, and this is also something that becomes a fixture of the episode.
Yeah. And you know, he beats the Ferengi, and Nibor, he his excuse is that the music was too loud.
Which I agree.
Yeah. Fun fact: Frakes actually invented the phrase "check and mate" here.
Right, because most people would say checkmate.
Yeah, Rob was trying to tell him that no one actually says that, but it was ultimately to no avail. He just kept saying it every take, and we kind of threw our hands up in the air, gave up.
Not unlike his improper poker playing.
Right.
Frakes is just
Oh my god.
fucking terrible at acting games out.
Right.
Going back to that martial art that he did with his with Riker's father in that one episode.
With the dirty pair references,
right, and
all around
all
on the floor.
the wonderful Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now that was a bad episode.
They're all bad episodes. That's why it's so fun. So he kept saying check and mate. Another version of the script had the word blunder in there. And Frakes loved that word. He used it every opportunity that he had.
Yeah.
You remember when we were making smoothies on set? Was it the mango passion fruit ones? And we had the blender, and Frakes saw that and couldn't rationalize the word blender with the word blunder. Right. He was like, blunder? It broke his brain for like a solid day until we got rid of the blender.
I don't think he'd ever seen a blender up to that point.
Right. I mean, they hadn't invented Blender yet, nor computers capable of rendering models like that. So I can't blame him for not having seen Blender.
It was kind of new technology.
Exactly. But we had
you needed a warehouse full of computers to get that working.
Right. You needed a men's warehouse. Now we had to cut that line from the script just for Frakes' sanity, and then we could get the Blender back, and it was fine. But man, the chess just did a number on the man, on Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He thought he was a queen, but he was more of a pawn.
and that's the issue too. Frakes always did like to present himself as something of an intellectual,
right?
And having to come to terms with not being able to play 4D chess correctly, it broke him for a while.
Yeah. Now, what do you think the fourth D is?
It's just time.
It's time to move on to the next scene. So the Ferengi leave the ship, and Riker and Troi go on an explicitly romantic date.
Yeah, which is odd.
That is odd. The only thing that precipitates this is Luxwana saying that Troi needs to find a man, and Troi, presumably, completely acquiesces to this and asks Riker on a date.
Yes, a very odd sequence of events. I do want to point out that this was the same on-set location as our infamously terrible worst episode of the Readier Room, Justice.
Which I believe has relatively high ratings in our catalog.
It does, for some reason.
Which explains why all the other episodes have pretty low ratings.
I guess people just really love hearing us trip over ourselves, trying to get our bits out.
Well, these cast members, the extras, they came from. Now, do you ever have this struggle where you want to purge previous work from your catalog, but because it's bad, but you want the completeness of it all still being there and available, and it's this tug of war?
Well, if I'm going to relate to this in any way, I would say that I do have the urge to purge after eating McDonald's.
Yeah. Hell yeah. They have this new thing. It's like creamy potato inside of a fried little pocket. And there's some kind of meat in there. I think it's bacon and potato.
Okay.
And it's pretty good, but it also leaves you feeling like a stuffed pig. Because you're just eating nothing but dense.
Plump and delicious.
Yeah. Well, if I ever had to choose two words to describe myself.
So after you eat those, do you grab an apple and stick it in your mouth?
I actually, my natural gag reflex gets triggered and I just end up vomiting everywhere. Which is great because then I can eat it up again in secondsies.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, they run into Troy's mom on on the set of Justice.
Right, and I don't remember if this was coincidental or the machinations of Luxwana.
Yeah, I don't really care either.
No, but the Ferengi teleports down.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, Luxwana, I must have you, but I'm also gonna kidnap Troi and Riker. Waha." I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like that.
What is the sacred chalice of reeks?
All right, that is something that the fifth daughter of Betazoid holds. Beta Z.
Beta Z.
Yeah, and I actually do find this endearing. How this is a title that Luxwana clings to, and at every moment, every possible opportunity, Troy's like, that chalice doesn't fucking mean anything. It's got mold growing in it. What the hell are you talking about?
What the hell is it supposed to do?
What does it do? I don't know, regulate?
Do you think it reeks?
I know something that reeked on set.
Yeah, so
I think Gene was the holder of the fifth chalice of
the chalice of reeks.
Yeah. Oh Lord, have you ever been in a? Good Lord, how do I even go into this? Have you ever been in a position where you commit a certain act, and then it's your facial hair that reeks? Because let me tell you how gross that is.
No, actually.
Well, lucky you, because let's say that, things are less than ideal conditions, and you dive in, and you're like, all right, I put my time in, I'm done. You pull back rather, and then you're like, oh my god, it still smells, and you gotta take a fucking bleach to your facial hair.
I mean, there are times, like, if I'm hanging out overnight, where, like, that'll happen to, like, my hand, or I'll get a certain kind of taste stuck in my mouth.
You take your hand out, and it's like a dried pickle, like it's
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brined.
You go to take off your underwear the next day, and you're just covered in, like, this weird, like, dried substance. that just smells just bizarre.
A cartoon stench trail follows you wherever you
go. Now, if it smells, because there are times it can smell, I don't know if I would say good.
I would never say anything close to that.
Sometimes it smells fascinating, I would say. And
you sound like somebody appraising a caviar, It's like, it's just fucking fish eggs. It smells terrible, but you're like, fascinating, quite pungent.
It's an acquired smell. And so, sometimes I'll...
it's the smell of culture.
Sometimes I'll have a night, and
hey, we're done with the chest talk.
I'll make my way into the office the next day without showering.
Oh Lord.
And I'll go to the bathroom to
reminisce.
use the urinal, and the stench kind of wafts up into my nose, and I'm like, yeah, I do reminisce. I'm like, oh, it was nice. It was a nice time.
Let me tell you, this is bizarre to say, but the physical interactions of smell fascinate me. And what do I mean by this? So, how well your clothing can conceal a smell. So, for example, in your situation, you go and you undo the zipper, you pull down, whatever, and then immediately the smell starts to waft up, and it's like, I think of smells as being agnostic of fabric, right? You kind of fart and that smell comes out. But other smells are really, really trapped in there. And
that's actually a good point.
Yeah, how these things do or don't interact with physical matter is interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I guess juice smell particles are denser than fart smell particles. You know,
Thicker than water.
thicker than water. Yeah, no, I'll at the urinal. I'll often use the smell to mog other men who come in to take a piss.
See, I always
He'll
lean
take
over.
a sniff and be like, "That man has sex."
I always lean over for a whiff of what they're selling. Sometimes I'll hop in between two guys, get the royal sampler.
Oh my god, this episode is so bad. This episode is so bad. This is what we're talking about.
Menage a Troi. So, let me ask you, how do you feel about the Ferengi business suit? Like with that the Ferengi business suit, that olive number with the ring on the front.
No, I wasn't paying attention.
You make it impossible to do this show.
I wasn't looking.
Whatever. How do you feel about that stupid curtain they hang behind their head?
Oh, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah. One of the key things that DS9 did was that it had the recurring core Ferengi character not wear one of those. And it's a subtle thing that I solely attribute as the reason for that character's success.
No silly head thing.
No silly head thing. He had a silly head, but no silly head thing.
No silly head thing, yeah.
Yeah. Arnie Sherman?
Army Hammer? So yeah, they're stuck in Ferengi prison now.
Yeah, Ferengi jail.
The Ferengi brig, which coincidentally is right where the chess table is.
Yes. Before this, let me raise a point. Troi and Luxwana are beamed out of the brig onto the bridge, sans their clothing.
Yes.
Because Ferengi culture dictates that they should not be wearing clothing. Now, why were they beamed aboard with their clothing at all? Is my question.
It's a good point.
As we all know, females shouldn't be wearing clothing. You let your females wear clothing?
We're sitting here like, that's a good point, and then we both throw our hands up in the air and just we don't care.
We don't.
Who cares? Interestingly, though, this was going to be the intro to the scene that Gene had in his rewrite. Could we call it the Gene rewrite? Of course, of this episode.
Gene right.
Where they were beamed. They were beamed out of the brig naked. And what was going to happen is they were going to it was just this bizarre, very graphic scene. They were going to go back to Tog's room, right? And I guess I should just read some of this, right? I actually kept this one.
They deserve to know.
Yeah, hold on. All right. Here's what the script said for this scene. Troi moans breathily as Daemon, I guess we hadn't named Tog yet, as Daemon penetrates her tight pink lips with his tongue, vigorously teasing her wet, wanting hole.
Ugh.
In corner. I'm sorry. It's just so ridiculous. In corner, Mrs. Troi lustfully flicks her engorged love bud. Eyes half closed.
Oh god.
Enter Riker. Close up to half a face. A single tear falls down his cheek. Ugh. Now, the cast and crew would eventually breathe a collective sigh when we realized we actually would not have to see Majel naked. But this is what we had planned.
I honestly almost vomited.
Who writes this stuff? Her engorged love bud.
All right. I did vomit.
You good?
I am not joking. I have vomit in my hand right now.
Do you need to go clean that up?
No, we can handle this live, but I need everybody to know we have a lot of fun on this podcast. This is not a joke. Good lord. It smells like my coffee. Oh, there's some on the floor, too. Fuck. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. Oh, Lord. Oh, back to my coffee, I guess. Was it worth it?
I wish I could have gotten through that without losing it.
It's just so intrinsically ridiculous.
All right, Sacred Chalice of Reeks. Wesley needs to do some kind of oral exam.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better.
I wonder if it's the same kind of oral exam Tog was doing.
I think it's the same one that Will had to do to get on the show.
Yeah, there's a little Wesley arc here where he has to rendezvous with some ship that can't wait for him, and he's the only one who can save the day, so he gets stuck on the Enterprise.
Can I just roll my eyes? The ship's
Yeah, you can.
The ship's called the Bradbury.
Oh, forgot about that.
Yeah, just okay, whatever. You can name your ship whatever you want, I guess.
I'm not really sure why they couldn't have waited like another just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like Picard can't be like, sorry, my first officer's been kidnapped. We're gonna have to delay this a little bit.
No, our mission is so important. We have to get back to shuttle these cadets to the academy. We can't wait. I initially liked Wesley's departure. Having forgotten that he sticks around, I don't know how I forgot that he does stick around, but that scene where he leaves the bridge and no one's paying attention to him. Yeah.
It's just like that's how life works.
Yeah, and I mean it's rather explicit. Picard literally says, no long goodbyes. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is a reference to the long goodbye.
Right.
Or maybe it was the big goodbye.
Is that with Lawrence Tierney?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the big goodbye.
Right.
Never mind, it wasn't a reference.
The big goodbye ski.
The big goodbye. I guess that's it, Dick. The big goodbye ski.
Now I'm remembering Lawrence Tierney and just the hurricane of wonder that was. What about Lawrence Tierney's engorged love bud?
No. Oh god. All right. They say human again.
Yeah, they do.
I like that.
Human and female are both core tenets of Ferengi culture.
No, I'm glad they keep doing that.
Survive to Deep Space Nine.
Human.
It's funny because Quark, generally speaks like a normal guy. And in the middle of a sentence, he'll just throw out a human.
My God,
it's very some might say illogical. For language to work like that, but yeah, whatever. It's dumb. Ferengi are dumb. Whole thing's dumb.
Star Trek is dumb.
Star Trek's fucking dumb.
TV is dumb. Science fiction is dumb.
Existence.
This
is
podcast is dumb.
Nihilism.
God, we just have nowhere to go with this.
With the episode?
Yeah.
We can go back to erotic fan fiction. I still have some left in the tank to vomit up.
All right, what else happened?
So it's worth pointing out the other Ferengi, the Doctor.
The Doctor, yes, that's right.
First appearance of Ethan Phillips, who would go on to play Neelix on Voyager. This episode being his first appearance in Trek, thereby ensures that this episode would be a terrible stain on the franchise, which it really didn't need any help, but this just puts it over the edge.
Cherry on the top.
Yes. Although I will say that his performance was not bad.
Yeah, sure. His character, though, I find it odd that he never went back to the brig and noticed that Troi and Riker had broken out, but he also seems to be the only other Ferengi on the ship.
There's 3 Ferengi, and they're all
one of them gets knocked out, right, or something.
I don't even remember what happens. So
yeah, me neither.
Riker's like, "Oh, let me out of the
yeah, he plays chess with
the brig to play chess with you." And the Ferengi's like, "I'm too smart for this, human. I know that you're trying to trick me, but please come out and play chess," or whatever.
yeah.
And I think Riker just punches him or something. I don't really remember.
That had to have been it.
I was looking at my phone. Riker and the Ferengi were there playing chess, and I looked up, and Riker was letting Troi out of the brig. So something happened. Which is great. I love anything.
I love TV.
Yeah, I love televisions. Just the physical object itself, not what's displayed on the screen.
Just staring at the black screen.
And in this time, Luxwana is trying to seduce Damon Tog.
So,
and this
I don't know
was so
if she
stupid.
knew to rub his ears or what, but okay, yeah, what was stupid?
So she's like doing it. She's rubbing his ears. She's doing umox with him, and she's like, "Oh, I need to tell your replicator how to make something. What is your access code?" And he's like about to tell it to her, and she'll be able to give this information to the others so that they can escape. But seemingly out of nowhere, apropos of nothing, the Neelix guy just runs into the room and says, "No, don't give her your access code."
Yeah.
For no reason. Like, am I to believe that people just break into the captain's quarters? All the time?
Right. Yeah, that was dumb.
And then, like, Luxwana just becomes invertebrate, and she's like, "Oh, I wasn't, like, pulls her shirt collar.
Starts sweating large droplets profusely.
This is terrible. Can I tell you a quick story? More interesting than this episode. Yesterday, just to have something to do, I left and went outside and went and changed my cell phone number. And then I walked back home. Just to have something to do.
That's inspired.
Cost me about $20.
That's like something my grandfather would tell me.
Oh boy.
And I met the nicest lady at the phone store.
I'll tell you this, my new phone number has the letters 666 in it in sequence.
Oh,
the letters.
Did you choose that?
The number. I did not choose that.
Happy accident.
Here's the thing. When I went, they're like, "Oh, we need you to select the last 4 digits." And I'm like, "I don't care. I'm just here to get out of the house." And like, "No, we need you to choose." So I chose whatever. Like, okay, here are 3 options using those last 4 digits, and one of them had 666. And I'm like, "Oh, give me that one. That's conspicuous." And them being Japanese, despite me living in Hollywood, they're like, "I don't understand why this is notable, but okay." And then I walked home.
You kind of like soy face at it when you saw it.
Yeah.
Point at it. Like...
Turn to a non-existent camera and point backwards at the 666.
Sometimes I genuinely do that in real life.
Yeah.
And no one gets it. No one gets it. But you should have made it 1337.
Ah, that would not have been bad. As I gave I think I gave the last 4 digits of my social as
oh god,
as the 4. And
my god.
well, I mean, come on. It's okay. But when they were working, like, could I have chosen something funny instead of like putting zero thought into this and just giving my social security number? Now, a real avant-garde play would have been to request the entire social security number as my phone number. That would have been quite heady.
Heady. Yeah, that would have been something.
So, Troi and Riker escape, and they barge in on the would-be couple.
Would be.
And they negotiate the release of the non-Luxwana captives.
Would be is like the name of a fat old mustache squirrel from a Disney cartoon.
Mean old Mr. Woodby doesn't want us
he's the engineer or something.
Let's go ask Woodby.
You got Rescue Rangers brain rot.
I might. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah, they barge in on Tog, and then
they negotiate release.
Mm-hmm.
Luxwana's like, you only want me, and that guy's like, I never thought about that. I do. Why did I kidnap these people?
Right. And then we get the whole the others get transported back. Picard has to do his little.
Then we get the greatest scene in TNG history.
Right.
Which does not work with anything that's been established. Like, yes, Picard would know Shakespeare, but him being so easily flustered and such a terrible actor, excuse me, don't track. They don't track. At all. So, but this whole episode is presumably in service of comedy, so this scene is as well, and, whatever. But it is funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. I don't really get how they arrived at this plan. Like, why... Like, this was Luxwana's machinations the whole time?
Right.
That she would signal to Picard to be a jilted, possessive lover, which in turn would get her back from Tog?
I thought it was an okay idea.
Just the fact that it was not precipitated by anything. It's
maybe not.
It's just obtuse enough of a plan that I feel like it would need some setup.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you can count on Picard to improvise and to also he always has that obligation towards Troy's mother by virtue of her being the mother of one
Troi?
of his bridge crew. Yeah, and Troy's mother of Troi.
Oh, the plan works, I guess, and they get Luxwana back, which is a shame because if she had been killed in this episode,
It would have spared us a lot of grief, and a lot of the DS9 guys' grief too.
Jesus Christ, she appears like 6 or 7 times in Deep Space Nine. It's awful. Mad.
No, more importantly, Wesley has missed his chance to go to the Academy once again.
Right.
Because he had to stay behind and tell everyone what Riker's message was.
Right, which it was the rhythm of the whatever. It was the rhythm of who gives a shit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I started that sentence caring, and then that petered out quickly. So Peter. So Wesley, because he couldn't make it to the Academy, Picard says, "You shouldn't wait for the Academy. You're now an ensign." And Wesley's on cloud 9, like he walks into the wall instead of opening the door to leave because he's so stupefied with happiness. Now, originally the scene would have Wesley being promoted to admiral for all the things he had done. That was Will's idea. And we were on board with it, but someone realized that we didn't have any more admiral costumes, especially one in Will's size. So we had to improvise a bit and change it to ensign. But,
much to his chagrin.
Admiral Crusher would have been a nice arc on the show.
Oh, certainly.
Where Picard would have to report to Wesley for everything.
It does appear like that was where Trek was going for a while. Wesley, the 6-time hero of the Enterprise, at the age of 12.
We had to keep making bigger and bigger onesies, though, so I'm kind of happy that we got him in a Starfleet uniform finally.
Yeah. I thought that scene was kind of cute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it was in this episode, but taken unto itself, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, possibly the greatest thing about it is how this really fit into kind of our broader plan for the character. After we wrapped on this episode, you remember we had that big party. We started off at the studio, and then kind of we went bar hopping,
as we did.
And yeah, that was a wild night. Youngblood.
Hell yeah.
You remember that? Yeah, he took all his clothes off and he climbed onto the roof of the bar we were at, and I guess one of the other patrons called the cops, and we were actually out of Frakes stand-in for a few weeks. So that kind of had its consequences, but we had, who was it? LeVar and Frakes. I think it was LeVar. Definitely Frakes. They had Will doing keg stands after his mother had left early. His mother not being Gates,
which always confused me.
Yeah. I know. It's. I was like, she's his mother on the show. Why is she not his mother in real life? I didn't get it, but whatever.
It made all that kissing they did even more inappropriate.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so we were getting Will drunk, and we had this huge elaborate cake, and Gene even showed up. Even though he ended up spending most of his time kind of just sitting by himself, staring at the wall.
Well, at that stage of the big D.
Right, the big D. But I say all this to frame really the most important aspect of this, which was that this was all just part of our kind of collective Machiavellian plan to eventually boot Will from the show and just completely ruin his career.
Which we succeeded at.
We did succeed at, and this was kind of the apex of that, and we were all kind of exchanging knowing glances across the room at each other as Will got more and more drunk. Which was I cannot describe the high that we felt that night.
I think more people should get involved in plotting at some point in their lives, or perhaps scheming. But watching a good plot develop the way you had intended is a feeling like none other.
We were truly dastardly.
Yes. We all grew matching mustaches to signify this.
We did. Yeah. The day we saw Will off, we all just had these beautiful mustaches.
I think at that moment he knew.
And Colin Powell was there that night too, but whatever.
That's a different story for a different time.
That's for another time.
Yeah. But the big CP.
The big CP. That's what we used to call him.
When my kid was in elementary school, he, as part of an assignment, he wrote a letter to Colin Powell. Never responded.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess he must just not have known that he was your kid.
Nah, he's just a dick. It's the last time I ever buy one of his records. So overall, what'd you think of this episode? Is it over?
I think it's over.
Okay.
This is gonna get. I don't want to give it half a saucer set.
That's kind of what I was thinking, to be honest with you. Half a saucer set.
So, I think there was like, I don't know. It's not an episode that, I don't know. It's a 1.
I think I would not describe it as an incompetent episode. Like the stage that TNG is at this point, they make episodes of television, and they have they have an act structure to them. Everything, the production is fine, It's not.
Yeah, it looks nice. It sounds nice. It flows.
It's not incompetent. It's just bad. Whereas previous episodes of TNG seasons 1 and 2 had straight up incompetent episodes, which this is not on the same tier as that, which is the only thing stopping me from the half saucer set. So I think one is fine.
Yeah, one it is.
And that's that, Jack.
John.
Jacob.
Jingleheimer.
Goldberg.
Jingleheimer does sound like a Jewish surname.
Oy vey, Mr. Jingleheimer's gonna kill me for this.
You have any trivia for me?
Mr. Jingleheimer.
Yeah, sure. What do I have? I have a couple I couldn't really decide between.
Is the answer to all of them Colin Powell?
No. All right, here's one. Damon Togg's security code. Okay?
Okay.
It's actually a reference, which I kind of soy-faced at. And there's a pattern here, so you can guess this. Just what was the reference to?
Am I allowed to look up the code?
I'll give it to you.
Okay. Oh, you sent it to me. I see. I was waiting for you to say something. K-E Yuri Date.
Kind of sounds like Jawa speak, actually.
Is this Japanese?
Maybe.
K Yuri Date. My mind is working overtime right now.
I don't think the content of the password is going to help you very, very much here.
Okay.
But you can guess the reference.
Is it dirty pair?
It's Dirty Pair.
I can't say I feel intellectually accomplished right now.
There was also, I forgot to mention, in the Most Toys, there was also a Dirty Pair reference. They had their names, I think, scrawled across the floor in the escape scene.
Ah.
Yeah, well, I totally forgot to mention that. So glad I could get that in. How about another one?
Okay.
All right. At the little ceremony we had for...
Go on.
At the little ceremony we had for Will after his promotion on the show, okay? Which Colin Powell attended, of course. When Gene showed up, I don't know if you remember this, but he actually gave Will kind of... He gave Will a gift that was symbolic of his promotion, right?
Okay.
To ensign. And I'm wondering if you remember what that was.
I believe it was a sign with the letter N on it. An N sign.
No, but that would be good.
What could it be? Like a child wing pin that pilots give children on airplanes?
You're getting closer.
Was it an actual military badge of some sort?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes, he gave Will his second lieutenant bars that he got in the Army Air Corps, which is equivalent to the ensign.
That is an oddly touching moment.
Right?
Where you can imagine old Gene, young Will, and he's like, "Oh, you see this? When I was in the Air Corps, I did this to earn this, and you've impressed us lately. I want to give this to whatever." And it's
right.
Yeah, for all the tales of debauchery and villainy that we spin here, it's nice to have some might say wholesome moment.
Right, and even better is Will's taking the badge and crying and then Gene just forgets about it and dies. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
Thinks Will is his actual grandson. Like, I planned to give this to my grandson my whole life. Here you are, Johnny.
He thinks Will is an actual ensign.
He thinks he's an actual admiral.
I mean, what's his name?
Gene.
No. Kirk.
Shatner?
Yeah, Shatner. That's what Shatner thought of himself.
Is Shatner dead yet?
Not yet. Surprisingly, he's still kicking.
Soon. God, I can't wait for people to... I won't say pretend to care, but I will say that they will somehow care about Shatner's death. Like, Shatner dies and everybody takes to Twitter like, oh, my life, the beacon of light
right,
in my
right.
life has been extinguished.
Meanwhile, while he's alive, everyone's just like, yeah, he's a fucking asshole.
Well, I mean, he is, but certainly people will pretend to give a shit. It's like, oh man, this guy who has denigrated my entire existence for the past 4 decades, he's gone now.
Yeah.
Right. I need to take a day. I'm so lost. Hey, if you need
mental health day.
If you need to take a day, that's fine. It's practice self-care.
Drink water.
It's okay to just stay in bed for 5 days straight mourning. Now, I don't know how a mourning would last for 5 days just by definition, but
5 days mourning.
Yeah.
It's been a 5-day morning.
What is that?
That's the Beatles song, 5-day morning.
Oh, I see. A hard day's night. I get it. Now, it's you really threw me for a loop there, because once you said Beatles, like, what, 8 days a week? 5 days? No, that's not right. But when you said it's been, like...
They did a lot of day-centered songs, week-centered songs, where they just counted.
Let's make a list. They did yesterday. They did 8 days a week. They did a hard day's night. They did a day in the life.
Mm-hmm.
You could count Good Morning, because that's part of the day.
Oh my god.
What else do we got here? I feel like they don't have a song called Tuesday. What am I thinking of? Whatever. But they did a lot of days-centered lyrics.
I'm already impressed.
By the Beatles? Some say that they were a good band. I know you.
I'd like to meet those people.
I know you fucking hate the Beatles.
Can't stand the Beatles.
I don't like the insect, but I do like the musical group. Do you know the pun?
See, I'm the opposite. It's like a bug, but it's like a beet.
That's right. Right, like the fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Or beets, vegetables.
I like watching beetle fights. Japanese beetle fights.
I saw a GIF of a beetle being attacked by like a wind-up robot toy beetle. And the thing was just like walking into the real beetle, and the beetle like grasped it and just completely body slammed the fucking thing.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I can respect beetles because they're so slow, right? It's the speed of insects that really offsets me and puts me on tilt. Because
yeah, it's gross.
They could just get you, but beetles being slow are a lot more palatable.
Yeah, they're kind of cute.
Right, but I still would never touch one.
I'm sure you know this, but you can go down to the pet store and just buy a giant beetle grub.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'd rather go change my phone number again.
Hey, maybe you'd feel better having something to take care of, like a giant, disgusting worm.
I have you, don't I?
Very nice.
Thank you. Couldn't get it out so smoothly, but we got there in the end.
Well, I guess that's it, huh?
That's going to do it for this episode of the Readier Room. Quick shout out to our sponsors, including Denny's, home of the Grand Slam and Moons Over My Hammy, and also the Pep Boys, home of the 15-minute oil change. Now, the Readier Room is now accepting a sponsorship by AU, where you can apparently go get your phone number changed in less than 15 minutes. And if you say the word Readier when you're there, they will give you a special phone number that has one extra digit. So be sure to do that. And be sure to tune in next week, where we tackle yet another episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, perhaps even one that is good. Until then, everybody, please stay ready.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?